I don't know about you, but the more I eat venison, the less I have an appetite for beef. So as I've grown as a hunter, I've been looking for dishes that I enjoy using beef that I can also enjoy using venison. And I think I found a dish that I don't ever plan to make with beef again. So in this episode, let me show you what you can do with venison bones to make the most spectacular pho you've ever had. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jonathan. I'm a wildlife ecology professor showing you how to build the wild kitchen. So if you're new to this channel, you may not know that pho is one of my favorite dishes and one of the favorite dishes in my family. We love to order takeout pho, but as food prices have risen, kind of realized that eating out has become pretty expensive. And pho is something that I challenged myself earlier to try to make at home, to both cut the cost, but also to learn more of one of the favorite dinners that we eat. So in my journey to build the wild kitchen, I'm always looking for ways to use the entire animal. And one of the parts of wild animals that are oftentimes not used to their fullest extent are the bones. And as many experienced pho makers will tell you, the key component to a delicious pho is the broth. So in this episode, I'm going to review processing a deer to get bones, and then jump right into this pho recipe. Cutting your long bones in half serves two purposes. One, to make sure that the bones fit in the pot that you're going to use, and two, to open up the bones so that the nutritious marrow can soak into the broth. If you're not cooking with charcoal, you're not grilling. Fight me. But in all seriousness, I think it's really important to use charcoal for your grilled meats and bones to impart that smoky flavor that you just can't get with anything else. Whatever cut of meat you use in your pho broth, make sure to use a part that has lots of connective tissue. Here I'm using the hindquarter shanks of the deer, one of my favorite parts of the deer. Hey folks, I just wanted to take a break and let you know that one of the best ways to get the most out of the content on this channel is to subscribe to my newsletter. Every Sunday, I give you more depth and insight into the topics I cover on Out There JCH, including thoughts and perspectives that I don't really share on this platform. The newsletter is free to sign up, and as an incentive to becoming a subscriber, I'm offering a free wild food resource guide that will help make you a more capable harvester and home cook. Just click the link in the description to sign up. Okay, let's get back to the episode. My favorite grill pan by Made In. It's a beast. I roast the bones first, and only for about 3 minutes, just long enough to get a char on them. I cook the shanks for a little bit longer than I do the bones, but again, not to cook them all the way through, but to get that delicious charcoal flavor. Now, you could slow roast the bones and the meat, but why slow roast when you can pressure cook? Don't forget to collect those extra flavor bits on your roasting pan. Fall off the bone tender. Straining your broth is optional, but it's something I generally like to do. Separate the meat from the bones because you're going to add those delicious chunks back into your soup. Cut and roast your aromatics on a baking sheet with a little bit of oil for about 10 minutes. I ended up putting my broth in the fridge overnight so that I could specifically separate out the fat layer from the liquid layer. Rock sugar is a must. A healthy amount of salt to start, but not too much because you're going to add fish sauce later. The secret ingredient to every delicious broth is kombu. If you're not using it, you need to start. you'll want to roast the spices in a cast iron pan. Doing so adds extra flavor to your broth. Last time I made pho, I added these ingredients directly into the broth, but this time I'm putting them in a tea strainer to keep them contained. And crushing the larger spices helps release more flavor and helps them fit into the tea strainer. Some chunks of daikon to add depth of flavor to the broth. A little fish sauce to taste. Pull your spices, and a little bit more fish sauce. Okay, now it's getting fun. It's assembly time. I blanched these rice noodles in plain boiling water for about 30 seconds. And to the noodles, I'm adding the venison shank meat and some chicken sausage. A healthy amount of raw bean sprouts. Daikon chunks cooked in broth. And the star of the show, poured over the noodles, bean sprouts, meat, and radish. Fresh green onion and a bit of cilantro to finish things off.
For real.
That's why it's pho in cursive.
It's delicious, Dada.
Okay, so a couple of things that I really like about this recipe. But to keep in mind that this is only the second time that I've made pho at home. So I'm still learning how to perfect this recipe to appeal to the taste that the entire family is looking for. But I think I'm on the right track. The number one thing I love about this recipe is that it comes from wild harvested meat, and a way for me to use more of the animal to make something that's delicious for me and my family. The second thing I love about this dish is the fact that I have a better idea of the quality of the bones that are going into this recipe than I might from buying bones at a butcher. Now, obviously, you want to put the highest quality ingredients you can, and the animals that give their bones to this recipe, you want to make sure that they are living their best life before they are harvested. And having observed the deer that I use in this recipe, and the fact that right before I took its life, it was living out in the wild, foraging and moving around, and probably not having any particular stresses. Whereas a lot of the bones that we get from cattle in industrial farming come from places that are probably not the best for those animals. And the last thing that I love about this recipe is that we can do it at home. In making pho at home from somebody who didn't grow up eating this dish, I'm gonna sacrifice a little bit in terms of the ultimate quality that this pho could be. But I think I'm saving money by making it at home, but then also too by building a relationship with this dish that is going to mean something not only for me, but for my children. And a last bonus, you can make a ton of pho broth and either pressure can it so that you can keep it on the shelf or freeze it rather than buying an individual serving size at a time from a restaurant. We're still gonna eat at our favorite pho place in town here, but it's really nice to know that when I can make this at home. The ceiling on the taste may not be as high as it is from buying at a restaurant, but in a lot of senses, it's so much more satisfying to create this dish at home. Now, if you haven't watched my first attempt at pho, then please go back and watch that. And if you're interested in more about hunting and wild harvesting food and what to do with the animal, then check out this video. Okay, that's all I have for now. I'll see you next time on